Hello everybody, welcome to this week's ITL. Yeah, you can see we're on the porch. That's because it's rainy, drizzly out today, chilly. See, we have a jacket on. So let's do it on the front porch today. And what I wanted to talk about was this right here, this beauty right here. And right now it's sporting the, actually this is the stainless steel wire that the Batman of Tennessee, that's his name, donated for this, and it's tuned in, but I can see there's problems already. As soon as I brought it out here, the wind was blowing a little bit and they were just all over the place and everything else, and this is not going to work out. Experiment. It's going to work, not going to work out. There's ideas to make these work out that I have. That was actually Suburban Rider gave me one of them. I can make these work in the future, but not for this test. So I'm going to go ahead and put these back, and I'll explain to you what I did. And you haven't seen this setup, complete setup yet, so I'll have to go through that. I do have, see, these are really thin wire. They're all easily bent. It's good. It'll work. It's stainless steel. It'll work. It'll last for a while, but there's some things I need to do with that. But you see over here, these are what I initially made for it. This is nothing but coat hangers that I have bent into like a J shape. And I mean, yeah, like they'll work. They'll last me probably a year or two before replacing them. That's why I'm going to get about the same gauge, maybe a little bit thicker stainless steel, and then I'll get it tuned in. Thank goodness, and thanks that there's one guy that's in the area that actually tunes this in for me. I had it together. He took it off my hands. With my measurements, he just trimmed just a little bit off of it. He did a really good job at squaring the ends too. And he said I just had to take a very little off just to get right where it should be. I mean, it's very, very close to 1-to-1 on this with these on it. So, and I got them. They're identifiable. Which one's ground, which one's ground, and which one's the main feed line, because I mean they're just a little bit different on the bottom. I have a little extra bend here. Does it really matter? Chances are no, but I like to have it just like it was. I'm gonna have it marked so it was tuned in perfect with that, very close to perfect with that. So I just put it back together and it should be just fine for me. But I'll show you here what I've done. Remember, I started out with a broomstick that I chopped the ends off because they were messed up. Chopped off the end here, and this end here I notched. I cut and notched to accept this piece of wood that I found in my box. It was given to me a long time ago. Yeah, it was just the bottom of a flower. And what I did to make it stable, well, it's glued in there for one thing. Yeah, I use very good all-purpose glue for it. And I also pinned it. You can see it, possibly see it right there. It's a different color. The dowel rod. It's all wood, and it's strong as can be. Then what I ended up doing is I drilled it out to accept two fasteners, and you'll see them on this side. They're 1/4-20s. Why I went with that? Well, that's because it's a common size for me. Throwing camera equipment and stuff, 1/4-20. If it works, I'll go ahead and do that, because normally I have hardware around. I found that I didn't, but normally I have hardware for it. And what I did is I recessed it, drilled out so the heads will be recessed, and I got them. I thought I had them pretty well flat, but they're just a hair proud. It ain't gonna hurt anything. And I ended up sealing it with the rubber, well, the all-purpose glue, so no water will get in there or anything get in there, and it holds them into place. But I had them going out. I'm not giving you sizes on this because if you were to do this, it will really correspond to how thick of wood you're using and so forth. So I mean, you got to use your best judgment. But I'll have to stand out. Oh, what was it, about a ½ inch, a little bit more, stand out back. I put 3 washes per bolt on there. I'll tell you why in the nut. And I was going to use wing nuts, but I didn't. The place I went to didn't quite have them. And I will probably change these out to wing nuts in the future. That way I can change out the ends fairly quick. But what I did is I used coax and for the feeder line. And yeah, this is not the best. This is not the best. This is far from the best. This is actually RG58. And that's not good for anything high. You're going to go with higher wattage. But 25 and under, it should be fine. And I did put this choke on it. Homemade choke on it. And what this is basic. I'll give you the measurements for this. It's 5 inches across, and there's 5 windings. Now, I've heard people say, well, you go 6 inches, 6 windings. But I've heard many people go with 5. I don't think there's a really too much of big deal difference. If you have problems with it, then you can go with the 6 and 6, and it should work. This worked out good for this. And all I did is use the zip ties to help hold everything together. I mean, I used more than I needed, but I know it'll hold it on together. But I went ahead and ran the center conductor is on the top, because that's your positive, and the ground conductor is just wrapped around the bottom. Now, I did put that shrink tubing along the best I could to help seal. Then I put a little bit of rubber cement down in there to help seal, so water won't get down in there. It can still get to the exposed ends. I'm not really worried about that. It'll last me a while before I have to worry about that. And I got plenty of wire. I can actually move this up a little bit and cut it back, and it'll be fine. What I am planning on doing, well, before I jump the gun, what I end up doing is right here. This is the bottom one. This is the bottom one right here. But what I end up doing is just feeding it with the short part of the J going outward. I feed it between the top 2 washers. And the reason why I have 3 washers is to kind of separate the the conductors from the antenna, the rays. And does it have to be? Not really. It's just my OCD. And I can tighten them down. It'll kind of look like that. I don't think you can see it very well. Kind of look like that. And you can't really see that it's in between there. But what I wanted to do, the reason why I did it this way, I'm going to get the other one without throwing my phone around. Sorry about this, guys. In Guyot, the reason why I did it this way with, the nuts and the bolts and the washers and everything is because, you'll see it, I'll have them going out like this. And no, they're not going to be perfect right now in line. You get it close, but you get like this. And what I made this for is I've seen many plans of similar to this with PVC that would make it portable for, like, if you're going RVing or anything, you can collapse it down and stow it away. This is more permanent for the house, my house. As I mentioned, it's all aluminum, heavy-duty aluminum siding all around it. I needed something for outside, and this is a dual band antenna, and I'll explain that here in a second. But you see, it's like this. This will actually be put on a flagpole holder right by a window on, like, my 2nd or 3rd floor. Be pointed outward in the right direction. And this is actually omnidirectional, so if it wasn't for my house, my siding, it would work work a little better. But I had to order it. I'm doing this just as an example people understand, because I know this is basic. Everybody should understand this, what I'm doing. But I went ahead, I actually had to order this flagpole holder because, well, I misplaced my other one. Or used it, one of the two. But it'll go in there. tighten down and hold on the house for me. And the only metal that'll be working with it will be the holder, the feed line, and the hardware and everything for the actual arrays. So, why I made it like this? Well, I can collapse them down to poke it out the window because they're smaller windows. Then once I just get them out of the windows, I'll bring it up, use a wrench, tighten it down, use a wrench, tighten it down, and then place it into the holder. Now, I am planning on painting the wood. The wood will be painted eventually. I figured I want to try it out, see how well it works. This has been tried out once since I got tuned in, and I'll tell you, like I said, it's a dual band. The shorts section actually works very well for the 70 centimeter, and the long ones actually works for the 2 meter. I have an idea, which I'm hoping it won't be like this setup, but I'm hoping for it to come through my plans for a tri-band, because I have a tri-band radio. This will work for the dual bands, and this I'm planning on running with my UV5R, which I got the connector at the end of the coax for it, and also the QYT radio, and it should be do me okay. Now let's get back to my testing. Oh, let me give you a second. The testing with it was just really brief with my UV5R. I was in my house, which is, like I said, it's lined with the really heavy old aluminum. I mean, this is really thick aluminum going around my house. But I was in towards the back, not really a whole lot of windows back there in the kitchen, and I just happened to say, well, I was going to walk out to the back door and try it out just to see how well it worked with the UV5R. And my purpose of that was there's a repeater that's about 13.5 to 13.6 miles away, and can I hit it outside? I can hit it, but it's really weak. I mean, it takes a lot of work to try it. On the second and third floors of the house, I put it out the window. If I put it out the window, I can hit it fairly okay. This is just with the longer antenna on it. And with this, before I even got outside, I mic'd up onto the repeater. It came out nice and clear. I mean, it was like there's no weight. It was right there. The other repeater I used for local, I mean, it was like they were sitting side by side each other. The way it was, they were hitting, and like that'll work. I'm not planning on painting the arrays at all. They're just coat hanging. You shouldn't really paint the arrays anyway. I will end up getting, like I said, the stainless steel for it. Excuse me. Getting the stainless steel for it, replace it, and that'll last me a good long time. Nothing else. I mean, I'll tell you, the only cash I have into this would be keep from falling, would be the hardware to put the arrays on. I had the wire ties around. I keep them around my garage all the time. I had the coax laying around. It was just not doing anything. Actually, this coax was I made a wire antenna, one of my first antennas, so where you throw it up, hang up a tree or something. This was one of them. I made 3 of them. This was one of them, and I mean, this is just coat hangers. I mean, yes, they're getting harder to find, the metal coat hangers, or around this area at least. But it was just coat hangers and a little bit of glue, and it's made. So I mean, I'm not out any money really. It was a nice experiment, and it seems to work well. Now I will be making a video put into on the ITLs of me testing this out. I'll be showing it being tested out. I don't know which radio I'll use, but I'll show it working and everything up in my computer room / ham room. That way you guys will be able to see, yeah, it does work. and I'll take a picture of it being mounted up on the house itself. That way you guys can see. But I figured, you know, this was work. It was great. It was a nice experiment. And my next step will be a tri-band. Yeah, a tri-band. There's always give and take. I'll be keep an eye out for what it took. But I mean, it's a balancing act. This right here seems to work out good for me. The tri-band might not work as well, but I would like to have all three on one antenna, line. That way I can run that automotive radio, the QIT, which in the previous, earlier this week, I was my riding video, and I said I wouldn't buy that program for $25. I'll tell you what, that's a story on its own. I went ahead and I broke down and purchased, and so it's coming in. You can either download it or get it on CD. I purchased a CD, that way I have the hard copy around. The CD costs extra money. Then I found out the program cord, it wouldn't work with the program cord that I had, okay, because of the chip in it. So I went ahead and ordered the cord to go with it, and I'll tell you, it was about 2/3 of the price I paid for the radio. We just give it that way. About 2/3 I paid for the price of the radio. Is it worth it? I was looking at the options and everything. I mean, you're talking what, 150 to close to $200 for a better radio. Oh, you say a better named radio with the same functions. So I'm like, yeah, I can see that. For being a cheap Chinese radio, though, it's like, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll work with it, but when it comes in, maybe I'll do a video on that, how it works and everything, because it's made for Windows and it's made for Mac. It's not. Well, I'll be using it on Linux. It'll work. That's not a problem. But yeah, I'll be using it on Linux. But this is MuzzleMike, hoping you all have a great week. Signing out.